When a reporter tried to shame Carrie Underwood for her personal choices, she responded with a truth bomb that left everyone speechless. The Harmony Awards were held in the heart of Los Angeles, a night meant to recognize the most influential figures in the entertainment world for their contributions to promoting unity, inclusivity, and positive societal change. The event brought together an eclectic mix of celebrities, philanthropists, and artists, all of whom were eager to showcase their latest work and celebrate their achievements. The air was thick with excitement and anticipation, and the cameras captured every angle of the glitzy, glamorous atmosphere. The flashbulbs were relentless, and the clatter of reporters' questions filled the air like a chorus of inquisitive voices. Among the sea of stars, one name stood out: Carrie Underwood. The country music icon, known for her angelic voice and record-breaking career, was one of the night's most anticipated guests. Dressed in a dazzling emerald gown that hugged her frame perfectly, she looked every bit the part of the queen she had become in the music industry. Her blonde hair cascaded in soft, gentle waves, and her eyes sparkled with a confidence that was unmistakable. She had been through so much, building a career from the ground up, facing personal and professional challenges, and ultimately emerging stronger than ever, and tonight was a reflection of everything she had accomplished. But even amidst the luxury and celebration, Carrie could sense that this night would be different. The energy around her felt charged, not just with admiration and respect, but with something else. A challenge. A question was hanging in the air, one that she wasn't quite expecting but had a feeling would come sooner or later. It was the kind of question that could rattle even the most seasoned of celebrities, and it was coming from a reporter known for her provocative and, at times, controversial style. Madison Cole. Madison had made a name for herself by asking tough questions that often pushed celebrities into uncomfortable territories. She had a knack for finding their vulnerabilities, digging into sensitive topics, and exploiting moments of weakness for the sake of a headline. Many celebrities had fallen into her trap, offering answers that were sometimes too personal, too candid, or simply too controversial. Madison's sharp wit and no-nonsense approach made her one of the most talked-about figures in the entertainment world. And tonight, she had set her sights on Carrie Underwood. As Carrie made her way to the press line, the usual swarm of photographers and reporters surrounded her. She was accustomed to the attention, used to the barrage of questions about her music, her family, and her life in the public eye. She gracefully fielded each question, her answers coming effortlessly, warm, and genuine. But then, just as she was beginning to feel the familiar rhythm of the interview, Madison Cole stepped forward with a question that would stop her in her tracks. "You've built an incredible career," Madison began, her voice smooth but laced with something more, an edge, a sharpness that Carrie instantly recognized. "But you've also been very open about your faith and your traditional values. Some would say that, in today's rapidly changing world, those beliefs may be, well, outdated. How do you respond to that?" The question hit Carrie like a punch to the gut, but her expression didn't falter. Instead, she stood tall, her eyes locking with Madison's. It was a carefully crafted question, designed not only to challenge her faith, but to undermine the very values she had championed throughout her career. There was no denying that Carrie's faith and family values had always been an integral part of her public persona. She had always used her platform to share messages of love, kindness, and hope, and many of her songs reflected these themes. But now, those same values were being questioned, and not in the context of her music, but in the context of her personal beliefs. For a moment, the world seemed to stand still. The press line fell silent, every reporter waiting to see how Carrie would respond. The tension in the air was palpable. This wasn't just another interview. This wasn't about her latest album or tour. It was about something far deeper. It was about who she was, what she stood for, and how far she was willing to go to defend her principles. Carrie's mind raced, but her face remained a picture of calm. She had been asked tough questions before, but this one cut deeper than most. Still, she knew that the only way out of this was through. So, with a steady voice, she repeated the question, almost as if testing it out for herself. Outdated? Her eyes never left Madison's as she carefully considered her response. The cameras zoomed in, capturing every moment of the exchange. This was it. This was the moment that would define the conversation, the moment that would either validate or challenge everything Carrie stood for. Outdated? Carrie said again, her voice now unwavering. I think kindness, integrity, and staying true to yourself never go out of style. If that's outdated, then I guess I'm guilty. The reporters around her exchanged glances, and a soft murmur rippled through the crowd. Madison, not one to be easily outdone, pressed on, her tone growing more insistent. But don't you think that by clinging to those traditional values, you might alienate some of your fans? People today expect more flexibility, more adaptability. Do you ever fear that you might be left behind in a world that's moving so quickly? Madison asked, her eyes narrowing as she sensed an opening. Carrie took a deep breath, refusing to be provoked. She had been in this industry long enough to know that no matter how much pressure was applied, she didn't have to bend to anyone's will. Her values were her own, and she wasn't going to apologize for them. Her fans followed her, not because she was trendy or because she fit into some mold of what was popular. They followed her because she was authentic, because she was real. With a small but firm smile, Carrie responded, her voice cool and collected. My fans don't follow me because I say what's popular. They follow me because I say what's true to me, and I respect them enough to believe they can make up their own minds. If my beliefs aren't for everyone, that's okay. But I'm not going to change who I am to fit someone else's idea of what's trendy. The words hung in the air, and for a moment, the press line was completely silent. Madison's smug expression faltered, her usual confidence evaporating in the face of Carrie's unshakable composure. It was clear now, Carrie had turned the tables. She hadn't just deflected the question. She had reframed it in a way that made Madison's challenge seem hollow, even misguided. The applause came suddenly, from a small but growing group of journalists who had witnessed the exchange. It wasn't just a polite gesture. It was a recognition of Carrie's strength, her grace under pressure. Madison stood there, caught off guard, her carefully prepared question unraveling in the face of Carrie's unapologetic honesty. As the interview ended and Carrie walked away from the press line, the buzz around her only grew. Clips of the exchange were quickly shared across social media, with hashtags like Carrie keeps it real, respect authenticity, and Eon truth bomb flooding timelines. Fans flooded Twitter, praising her for standing her ground, while media outlets began dissecting the moment as a perfect example of how to handle a loaded question with dignity and poise. The following morning, the story was everywhere. Entertainment news websites ran headlines like, Carrie Underwood shuts down loaded question with class, and Country Queen proves staying true to yourself never goes out of style. The coverage was almost universal in its praise for Carrie's handling of the moment. For Carrie, however, the attention was secondary. Yes, the validation felt good. Yes, the support from fans and peers alike was overwhelming. But for her, the most important thing was the simple truth she had expressed so confidently. As she sat at home sipping her morning coffee, she reflected on the events of the previous night. She knew that she hadn't just stood up for herself. She had stood up for something bigger, for integrity, for authenticity, and for the kind of values that never go out of style. Later that day, Carrie sat down with her guitar, the comforting familiarity of the strings grounding her. She strummed a few chords, letting the music flow through her, just as it always had. She had proven something that night, not just to the world, but to herself. When you stand in your truth, no matter how much pressure there is to conform, the world takes notice. And it was moments like these that defined the kind of legacy she wanted to leave behind. One of authenticity, compassion, and unwavering self-belief. So the next time life throws a difficult question your way, remember Carrie's words. Kindness, integrity, and staying true to yourself never go out of style. In a world that's always changing, those are the things that will always matter.